Hello and welcome to another episode of the Please Bet on Football Games podcast. I am your host, Alex, here with the on-air talent, Joe. Joe, how's it going today?
Finally feeling talented.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have to dig ourselves out of quite a hole, but week 6 was a very good start on that.
One more week like that and we're back.
Yeah, I mean, the terrible thing is one more week like that, which was a very good week, will knock out week 5.
Yeah.
So let's get into the numbers. Last week, we bet 8 units. We ended up going 3-2. We won 3.46 units. For the year, that takes us to negative 7.9 units with a 39% win percentage. Still bad, but way better than it was a week ago. Let's talk about some of these bets. First up, we had Tampa Bay over New Orleans minus 3.5. I think they won by 3 scores.
This is a fun game. I heard it said this way, and I think it bears repeating. At one point, the Buccaneers were up 27-3, or 24-3 rather, and then the Buccaneers were losing 27-23, and then the Buccaneers won 51-27. So it was Bucs domination, 27 straight points by the Saints, Bucs domination. Baker didn't even play his best game, and we still coasted to that victory. That was lovely. We survived a punt return touchdown. We survived 2 ridiculous interceptions that had no business occurring. We finally fucking did it. We overcame some bad luck.
Yeah, that one, it got scary for a quarter and a half there, but comfortable win. That was a 2-unit bet, so that was a good start. Into one of our losses, we had Tennessee over Indy minus 2.5. That was partly banking on Anthony Richardson playing, and instead Joe Flacco played.
Yeah, that was big.
But I think it's also Levis again. I think he looked worse than he has in a lot of other games last week, too. He plays solid, but then he just has some terrible decisions.
Yeah, and it's all bad. So this was the lowest graded game I've given Levis this year, and it's the same story. Like, 1, he's got no time and no protection. Fine. 2, he's very accurate. Like, he's one of the very most accurate starting quarterbacks in the NFL. But 3, he makes really bad decisions, and sometimes he locks on pre-snap. And a lot of quarterbacks do that, and they get away with these things because they have good protection, good receivers, or really good play calling, or some combo of the 3. When you have really bad play calling and receivers who don't get open and blockers who can't block whatsoever, you don't have the luxury of being stupid every once in a while because you don't have the time to make up for it. So, like on one play, this is the second time it's happened now. Will Levis's deep ball last year was like immaculate, and it's what made me so excited about him. This year, he's thrown the same ball twice already where there are defenders in the pocket. It is a muddy pocket. He needs to know to be alert. And instead, he's throwing deep into double coverage while getting hit. And because he's getting hit, the ball's underthrown and it's interceptable. And on this particular play, it was a double whammy because Levis is being oblivious to pressure and throwing deep into coverage. The receivers are running the wrong routes. So you have 2 receivers running the exact same route, meaning it's 2 receivers and 3 defenders. The blockers don't hold up at all, and the play call was stupid, and it's 3rd down, and it's just a cacophony of everything that's wrong with the Titans. Like, we thought they would have good coaching and good quarterback play to overcome these things, and they aren't getting it. They're getting okay quarterback play with an occasional disaster mixed in, and then they're getting really bad everything else. I'm out on the Titans because I don't think Brian Callahan knows what he's doing. I don't think Will Levis is nearly good enough to transcend bad coaching. I think the offensive line is the 2nd worst in the NFL. And honestly, pour one out for Nuke Hopkins because he's done. He can't fucking move out there.
Yeah, it's tough for him right now because what you said, like, we really banked on them having good coaching, and we thought that Bill Callahan would be able to make that line at least average. Unfortunately, they look horrible.
He can't even make that line bad. Like, it's unplayable on the right side.
Yeah, it's very bad. And I think Levis is, he has problems with making the right decision sometimes. And I think that's just getting compounded because now he's rushing and he's not confident. And so I think that's just making everything worse because he can't really save them. Not that he was ever really saving them, but he was playing well enough outside again of his
Weekly blunders.
insane turnovers. But now he's kind of playing poorly.
Well, and they're trying to limit his turnovers and his dumb plays by taking the ball out of his hands. But when they do that, they're taking away the only possibility that they can be good. Like this past week against the Colts, they tried to run the ball a lot and they tried to throw quick, short passes a lot. Well, their screens were designed like shit. They can't run the ball very effectively. So now you're guaranteeing that you score like 10 to 20 points a game. Whereas at least if you have Levis chucking the ball deep and throwing downfield, you have a chance at the positive variance of a win. Like you have the chance that Levis can catch fire and hit some deep bombs and all of a sudden you're in it. So it's I don't like anything about this team except the defense. That's it. Like, and again, I want to be very clear. My grade on Will Levis was the same as Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams. I thought he would be fine. Even if he was exactly what I thought he would be, it would not be enough for this team to be good. That's simple.
The offense is just anemic.
That's bad.
But I think we deserve to lose that one.
Definitely.
No qualms. Let's move on to game 3. Another loser. We had Denver over the Los Angeles Chargers +3. This was also a 1-unit bet. It lost.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 bets we didn't want to make lost. The 3 bets that we wanted to make won. Fun thing about the Chargers, I don't know if you watched this game. I hope you didn't, because why would you? The Chargers actually came out and threw the ball a lot in this game. I don't know if it's because they were playing the Broncos and they had some kind of game plan specific idea, but if the Chargers start throwing the ball a lot, they might become watchable.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense when you have the best part of your offense is your quarterback, but we'll see how that holds up. Maybe it was just because it was the Broncos and it was a division matchup, or who knows. But let's move on to our next game. Game 4, this was our best bet of the week. We had Detroit over Dallas -3. That was a 3-unit bet. That was about as comfortable of a win as we can get.
Yeah, I mean, it was a rocking chair bet. You put it on, you watch the first 3 drives, and you take a nap. Look, we should have won that bet, but Dak Prescott made it a lot easier than he had to. That could have been a tight, fun game that I think the Lions pull out in the end, but Dak Prescott decided not today.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely helped us, but I think we handicapped that well. I still don't know why that line was where it was, but who cares? Counts all the same. Game 5. We had the Buffalo Bills over the New York Jets -2.5. This was a 1-unit bet. Thank God for that half point. We won.
Would have hated to push. Granted, the market was -1 by the time the actual contest came out. We survived in this game. The Bills missing 4 points worth of kicks. The Jets got a point on an extra point that they missed very clearly. The Jets got a Hail Mary touchdown for no fucking reason whatsoever. The Bills lost at least 3 points due to weird penalties that should have been called and weren't, or weren't called and should have been, or were called and should not have been. Like, for instance, the 45-yard pass interference call that would have put the Bills in field goal range that was nullified by an offensive lineman laying on a defender, which is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, like, he kind of speared him, but I think that's a weak call no matter what.
That happens every week.
Yeah.
Also, like, the 3rd down roughing the passer that even Aaron Rodgers said was bullshit. That put 3 more points on the board for the Jets. Now, we got bailed out a little bit by the 2 missed kicks, so like some justice was done there. But overall, I think that this was at least a just result, and probably the Bills should have won by about 10.
Yeah. I mean, the Hail Mary in and of itself was insane.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think just win. It was a good week. I mean, like you said, we won 3.5 units.
We won all the bets that we wanted to make.
Yeah, it was nice. Felt good. Very needed.
So necessary. My mind is in a much better place.
Yeah, not to be forgotten that we're doing this on Tuesday compared to grudgingly doing it Wednesday night because we have to.
Yeah, last week I was looking for any reason to not have to record, and then even when we did record, I hated every second of it. But this week, the lines are more interesting. We have more confidence and something to play for. So, first game.
All right, on to week 7. On Thursday night, we have the Denver Broncos going to play the New Orleans Saints. The Broncos are -2.5.
Let me correct you. The husk of the New Orleans Saints. There's a lot of injuries on both sides in this game. It's too much for me to bet on it, really, I think. But let's talk it out because it's an actionable line. And I think if everybody was healthy, I would be racing to bet Saints money line. The number one handicap in this game is going to be, from everybody you hear, Sean Payton revenge game. And as cliche as it is, I think there's something to it because I think that when Sean Payton really puts his head down and thinks, he can create a pretty good game plan. And he is going to be trying to score as many points as possible on his ex-employer. On the other hand, I think some time needs to be spent examining Spencer Rattler because he was actually really good in his debut, aside from one thing. And that one thing is he just cannot throw a deep ball to save his life. His intermediate accuracy is really good. His arm talent is good. He is mobile. He is dangerous for real. He just can't throw deep. And now Rashid Shaheed's out, so he certainly can't throw deep. I don't think I can bet this game because you certainly can't bet Saints, right? Because even though the quarterback's underrated, they don't have their receiver, they don't have their offensive line, they're worse coached. And then you can't bet Broncos because they have Bo Nix. Like, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I saw this game, and even though it's a very actionable line, no way. I don't trust either team. Both have way too wide of an array of outcomes. I'd rather talk about Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, man, because I love Alontae Taylor, and I think he's going to lock up Troy Franklin in the slot. I love Marshawn Lattimore, obviously. I think he's perfect for Cortland Sutton. So how do the Broncos move the ball? But then on the other side, how do the fucking Saints move the ball? Again, you got two good defense. Yeah, this game sucks. This game is a quarterback away from Denver being the bet and an offensive line / wide receiver away from New Orleans being the bet. And let's maybe pile New Orleans. Like, it's a lean New Orleans, but there's so much going against it. I'm praying I don't have to take them.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not even going to write that one down because if we have to take that game, I'm not happy about this week.
Fair enough. All right. So much for breaking out the matchup and doing like a whole. I have this new idea where I want to do like primetime games, like little breakout pods. And I was like, oh, I could post it to like Twitter or YouTube or whatever, just like only this game. And we have nothing to fucking say about this game. So I guess this one's going on Twitter. On to Sunday.
And for another London game, we have the New England Patriots going to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are -5.5.
I actually just finished making my Drake May debut video, so go check that out on the YouTube. Look, those sirens are pissing me off.
Can't even hear them.
Trump comes to town for one day and it's all going to hell. No, it's really hard to think with sirens in the background. What the heck? At least it's an ambulance. Drake May played pretty well. His first 3 dropbacks were really bad. He had a throwaway he shouldn't have had. He had a terrible interception that I'm sure is circulating online, but I'm trying not to be there. And he had a routine throw. But he makes the Patriots look infinitely more competent on offense. The problem is the Jaguars are so underrated. Like, Trevor Lawrence was legitimately good this week, finally. And I think that the pendulum is starting to swing where, like, for 5 years, I was like, this is your or for 4 years, this is your king. This is Trevor Lawrence, the best prospect ever. He sucks. And now everybody's like, no, he sucks. And I'm like, well, he doesn't really suck. He's just, he's not good, but he doesn't suck. So now I'm going to be a Trevor Lawrence defender. Problem is just that the Jaguars should not have stolen that monkey paw from Africa because now they're cursed and they just can't stop fumbling and dropping things and just the dumbest thing. Every time you watch the Jaguars play football, they do the dumbest thing you've ever seen. And I would say like, oh, it's just bad luck. It has to even out eventually, but now it's been 3 years and the stupidity continues. So I'm scared to bet on the Jaguars because the voodoo is bad, and I don't want to bet on the Patriots because I don't believe in anybody on their entire offense except for Pop Douglas and Drake May.
I don't think I want to bet on this game.
No, and it sucks because we're all gonna watch it. Like, this is also another game that I could totally do a breakout pod on, and there's nothing to fucking say. Uh,
I probably won't watch this game. This game's at like 7:30 in the morning for me.
this game, the sirens. Trump, what are you doing? I thought you were gonna fix this. It's yeah, I might sleep in, or I might go play roller hockey because this game sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the Jags are going to win, but you have 5.5 for them.
Look, the
They're
Jags are
not.
the Jags are the bet, right? They're an underrated team. They're effectively at home in London.
Yeah, I mean, they've been there for a week and a half.
But then on the other hand, the Jags are 1-5, and they didn't know they were going to be 1-5. Like the Patriots players knew they were going to suck this year, but now they have Drake May in, and they're like, "Ooh, maybe this year can be kind of fun. Maybe I can earn a starting job on a real team next year." Whereas the Jaguars came into this year thinking they were certainly going to make the playoffs, and now it turns out all of them are probably going to be elsewhere in a year or two. The vibes just couldn't be any more different. So despite the fact that the Jaguars are a better team that is underrated and is comfortable in London, I can't imagine a team that is more that is less positive, that has worse morale.
Yeah, and they're at 5.5. I don't think they're good enough to be
Well,
at 5.5 for anyone.
if you take away like the stigma of like 5.5 is scary, this Jaguars team, if they had proper motivation and were in the thick of the playoff hunt, easily beats this Patriots team by a touchdown. Like
Yeah,
5.5, yes, is a big number. When you have a bad team versus a good team, like if this game were played week 1 and Jacoby Brissett is playing instead of Trevor Lawrence, I'd bet -5.5 or Jacoby Brissett instead of Drake May. But yeah, it's 5.5. So you have to win by a full touchdown. This game could be a blowout if the Jaguars weren't cursed and angry and sad.
yeah. I mean, like they got who is that? Andre Sisco. They asked him about the game, and he was like, "Saw a whole lot of quit out there," or something like that.
And it's only getting worse. It's
Yeah,
gonna be really bad.
yeah. Maybe we'll bet on them when they fire Doug Peterson or something, but
Honestly, no. I don't think we can.
but
We
then their
might
motivation will be back. You
we
saw what happened with the post head coach firing. You see all the garbage that the Jets got.
The NFL tried so hard to make the Jets happen last night. The tinfoil really came out of my cupboard yesterday night watching that game because it just so happens that Vegas like desperately needed the Bills to lose to save their week, or else it was going to be like the biggest loser of a decade for sports books. And then just miraculously, the Jets happened to get every lucky fucking break. It got me Alex Jonesing, but then all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers threw 15 to 20 yards behind Mike Williams and then demanded Mike Williams be traded. So everything was okay in the world because Aaron Rodgers is a dickhead. All right, noon slate.
Noon slate.
Oh my God, thank you, Christ. Ooh.
First up in the noon hour on Sunday, we have the Seattle Seahawks going to play the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are -3.
I kind of wish that we did video with these because the look I just gave you, I don't know, I kind of like this one.
I think so too.
All right, who do you like in this one?
I kind of think I like Seattle.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like the Falcons are so overrated and the Seahawks just it's like this. Geno Smith played like asshole last week, right? Like really bad in prime time. One, Geno Smith, he's one of those guys a little bit like Baker Mayfield in that now it's different because whereas Baker Mayfield has the support of like me and my following, Geno Smith has the support of all of the mainstream morons such as Steven Ruiz, right? But they also both are similar in that they have this terrible reputation for sucking ass, and it's not founded in reality. It's just bad PR that stuck. So like Geno has the reputation of a really bad quarterback who probably shouldn't be starting, and he's a decent quarterback, maybe even a good one. So when an underrated quarterback like that plays bad in primetime, all the casuals feel emboldened in their casual take. So there's value right now on Geno. And personally, I think if Geno has another so I think they've lost 3 games in the last 11. They lost 3 games in 11 days, right? That's pretty tragic. I think that if Geno loses 1 or 2 games in a row here where he plays poorly, we're going to see Sam Howell. And as fun as that would be for me, I don't think that I'm that lucky. So I think that in one of either this game or next game, Geno Smith will play well and win a game and save his job for at least the time being.
What do you make of the Seahawks being terrible against the spread this year?
Well, I mean, let's look at what the games have been that they've lost against the spread. Like they lost to the Lions against the spread. The Lions are just good. Like pencil that one in. And the game was probably closer than the 13-point deficit that the scoreboard reflected. It could have been a 7-point game. And well, fuck it, they just lost against the spread. That was a bad fucking game from them. Fuck them. Next, the Giants. They got soundly destroyed by the Giants, straight up. Like it should have been at least 9 points. It could have been more. San Francisco is San Francisco. They're tough, but Geno played like shit. Granted, their wins were against the Broncos, Patriots, and Dolphins. Fuck. Okay. Maybe the Seahawks aren't good.
Yeah, that's like where I'm kind of going like, is this just what we think the Seahawks should be, or it's what they actually are? Because the Falcons are definitely overrated, but like they're decent.
They're a decent team. Okay, so one of the big issues with the Seahawks has been their offensive line because they're missing the entire right side of their offensive line, and it's bad. And it's not unplayable, but it's bad. The Falcons can't take advantage of that, so it doesn't matter, right? The Falcons' defensive line is so bad that it doesn't matter. So Geno's going to have, I don't want to say ample, but he's going to have a lot more time back there. And I think that these Seahawks wide receivers can cook any secondary, much less this one. Plus, I would imagine the Seahawks run the ball a lot more because they've been talking for the last couple of weeks about wanting to run more. And then last week, Geno sucked. So, like, they're really going to want to redouble their effort on running. And I think they'll be successful in it. I don't think Atlanta can stop the run. It's just the other side. Like, the Seahawks secondary has fallen apart. The Seahawks defensive line has fallen apart. The Seahawks don't have a single edge worth playing, in my opinion.
See, that makes me think we shouldn't bet the Seahawks because Kirk can't move. But if you're not really able to push the pocket, London and Mooney are going to get open against the secondary.
Yeah, and then the idea behind the Seahawks defense is we're just going to be so stout against the run with our super huge front four that like we can dedicate more resources to trying to stop the pass, but they can't stop the run. So the whole thing doesn't work. Maybe the Seahawks fucking suck. God damn it. Are the Falcons going to go 5-2? I mean, that can't be the basis of our bet can't be the Falcons aren't good enough to be 5-2 because they fucking can be.
And because the Pittsburgh Steelers exist, so we already know that this is possible.
The Pittsburgh Steelers who beat these Falcons. Yeah, man, maybe we got to pass it. The Seahawks are just in disarray right now. And like, as much as they're underrated and as much as the Falcons are overrated, they have serious personnel issues and injuries and matchup problems that I don't think I can reconcile.
Yeah, shit.
Yet another week of not liking the football games.
All right, well, maybe we put this one on the maybe pile as well. We might have to.
It's actionable enough that we can come back to it. But yeah, I don't really have a bet right now.
All right, well, let's move on. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans going to play the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are -8.5.
Amari Cooper was an awesome trade that's going to change the landscape of the NFL, but I can't bet on this game.
Yeah.
We'll say.
The Titans defense is good enough that I think they're going to be able to mess with the Bills, and it's going to have to be the Josh Allen show. It's just that I have no faith in the Titans defense to score it all.
Offense.
Yep.
The Bills defense does kind of suck, though. But so did the fucking Colts defense. And it doesn't matter if you're not going to throw the ball down the field and you can't design a fucking screen or run. Yeah. I mean, the Titans have to come out throwing. They have to come out throwing downfield, and Levis has to play well. The Titans are so going to fucking cover this bet. They're going to cover this bet.
I mean, 8.5 is big for an incomplete team like the Bills are.
Not only are the Titans going to cover this bet, they're going to legitimately threaten to win late in the game, and we're going to be pussies who don't have the fucking balls to keep betting on the Titans. I promise you this will happen.
All right, hold on. We have bet on the Titans
every week, and we lose every week. We are 1-3 on the Titans.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
we're 1-3 on them.
Yeah.
Can we really bet on them again? Especially after we started this podcast.
Don't you fucking dare me. Don't fucking dare me to do this. You know what? I'm writing them on the maybe pile. Should they be a bet? No, definitely not. But they are going to fucking cover this game. It's dumb, but look, everybody just watched the fucking Bills beat the Jets. Everybody just heard the fucking Bills trade for a legitimate, excellent wide receiver 1. Everybody knows the Bills are great and everybody hates the Titans, and Will Levis keeps on doing dumb shit. And even me, the leader of the Will Levis bandwagon, is saying, get off the bandwagon. It's not good right now. But Brian Callahan might not be a good coach. He's not a bleep man. I don't want to actually go back and bleep it, but he's not a bleeped man. Therefore, he's going to come into this game knowing he needs big shit to go his way to win. And big shit is throwing the ball downfield, and that's what Will Levis does. And god damn it, the Bills can't pass rush very well. They just have to keep it remotely close. The Titans are the bet, and I don't have the nuts to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we should do it, but it is incredibly enticing, even though we've said they're terrible. Just because their defense is good.
I know. They're gonna cover this bet, and I think they're gonna fucking win. And it doesn't matter because I can't do it. I'm hurt. But that's so casual. It's so fucking casual of me to be like, no, I keep losing on the Titans. It's bad vibes. That is Barstool Sports caliber evaluation. But god damn it, I keep on touching this stove, and now my fingers hurt. I'm done touching the stove.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how the coach isn't as good as we thought it would be. The line is much worse than we thought it could be. And Levis is playing worse than we expected. So, like, all of the reasons we liked this team, besides the defense, have kind of fallen apart. So,
if this team was who I thought they'd be, the line would be Bills -2, and I would be having a legitimate hard time picking the game. It's 8.5.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a huge number, and I think that's why.
And the Bills are coming off a big win in prime time. They're going to be feeling themselves. They just got the big, fancy new wide receiver. And as good as Amari Cooper is, he's not helping in 6 days, right? It's going to take him at least a week to figure out what the hell he's doing in Buffalo, because it's a totally different offensive scheme than he's ever been in. So it's a lot of hype that isn't helping the Bills win this game. There's value. There's fucking value, but you're right, I can't do it. Next game. But here's the problem. We're going to say next game a lot in this fucking podcast.
Yeah, we are. All right, next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals going to play the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals are -6.5.
Do we take the Bengals? Here's the reason we can't take the fucking Bengals. Aside from a 50-yard Joe Burrow run, let's see if that one happens again, the Bengals couldn't move the ball against the Giants. And if Daniel Jones had any competence in his body, the Giants would have beaten the Bengals. So, while Deshaun Watson sucks, and the Browns suck, and I'm sure the Browns have all given up, the Bengals aren't very good. So, I lean Cincy. Give me Cincy on the teaser. Ooh, give me Cincy on the teaser? We haven't done a teaser since like week 1.
I think that'll probably be baked in somewhere. I mean, I would be tempted to take the Bengals even at 6.5, just because the Browns are so bad right now. And I think, like, they just traded Amari. They just showed everyone they've given up on the season. I think vibes are at an all-time low there as well.
Who's better, the Bengals or the Eagles?
The Eagles, probably.
How many points did the Eagles just beat the Browns by?
Yeah, but that was before they traded Amari Cooper.
And this is, like, I think Amari Cooper is really good, but factually, productivity-wise, Amari Cooper has been charting and profiling as one of the worst receivers in all of football because he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, no, I mean, he definitely didn't want to be there and was clearly just kind of...
He was dogging it.
But I think, one, they don't have anyone else that can play. And, I mean, who else is going to go in?
Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, I don't know. At least
they
they're
already play all the time.
Yeah, but they're going to get featured more.
I guess.
Look, I do not like the Browns. And I think a teaser on Cincinnati is remarkably safe. I just don't trust Cincinnati to get margin because their defense sucks and their offense kind of secretly isn't very good.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, like, God forbid, Alex, every time I look at a Browns game, I'm so terrified. What happens if Watson fakes an injury and gets the rest of his contract guaranteed and Jameis Winston comes in? Suddenly, the Browns are a legitimately very good team.
I don't know, that line is still bad.
It was good enough for Joe fucking Flacco.
Yeah, but they're worse this year because, one, they don't have Callahan.
They are.
DeJuan Jones put on 40 pounds.
Breaking, guy with off-field issues in college has off-field issues in NFL.
So I don't know. I think maybe Pyle, but...
No, I agree. Maybe Pyle, Cincy. Certainly teaser.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next game.
We got a good game.
Yeah, we can pick a number. We have the Houston Texans going to play the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are -3.
Do you have a lean?
What's the weather going to be like?
Let us see. Ooh, PFF does not show us the weather just yet because it's too early in the week. Look at us overachieving. Also, my taxes are due in 4 hours.
I believe in you. Oh, it looks like it's going to be nice. Low of 49, high of 71.
Yeah, damn.
I don't think weather's going to play into it too much.
No,
Okay.
not at all. I'm showing a game time temperature of 74. So, they'll be okay.
Yeah, it sounds like it's actually going to be gorgeous.
Do you have a lean either way?
Not a strong one. My gut says Green Bay just because it feels like they're going to win that game and Houston has been fraudulent, but in my head I think Houston is the better team.
We've got two fraud quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is a better fraud. CJ Stroud's like a decent player, whereas Jordan Love is a terrible player.
Yeah. Jordan Love can do things that CJ Stroud can't. It's just he also does things that CJ Stroud won't in terms of dumb shit and horribly inaccurate throws.
The coaches are very similar. Like Slowick has been getting a bad rap this year, but he's still good. It's just that CJ Stroud's not producing like people expected, so they have to place the blame. So let's call the
I think LaFleur is better, but I think Stroud is better.
Exactly. And I think those mitigate each other pretty perfectly. I mean, Stroud is so clearly better. The average game from CJ Stroud is a decent average game. The average game from Jordan Love is a really bad game. So
Houston's got a good pass rush, but their defense as a whole is kind of disappointing.
Well, this is the thing is the Texans are very light. It's like Will Anderson is a light pass rusher. Daniil Hunter is a finesse pass rusher. Like he is athletic and strong, but he's not as good versus the run. Both of their linebackers, To'o and El Shair, are not run stuffing kind of guys. Like To'o is the size of a safety. I love him, but he's small. The Texans safeties both suck. I think they start Eric Murray. Remember him?
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's literally never been good ever for a season, but he's starting in the NFL still. Yeah, so you can run on this Texans team, and that's what the Packers do. And the Packers offensive line is good at blocking the run. And then you flip to the other side of the ball. The Texans can't run. I don't know why, but they can't run. So it's going to be a pass heavy, matchup without Nico Collins, the elite wide receiver, which means you stick Jair Alexander on Tank Dell and Tank Dell disappears, right? And like you could put Eric Stokes on Stephon Diggs and he's mostly gone. Fuck, I go Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm kind of split on the two. Like we were talking about, we need to put more weight into coaching. And while I think DeMeco Ryans is a good coach, LaFleur is better. I mean,
LaFleur is a top 5 coach, period. And he's at home, and we got to go Green Bay.
I think we do too. It's just that Jordan Love scares the shit out of me. And Stroud, while he's been underwhelming this year, they don't have Nico Collins. I still trust him more than I do Jordan Love.
I do too, but it's not going to matter because it's going to be a run-heavy game, and the run's going to work for Green Bay.
And LaFleur has shown that Jordan Love doesn't need to do that much. So, yeah, I think I'm on it with you. I think that's an actual bet, too. We don't have to maybe pile it.
We don't have to maybe pile it. That's going to be a real bet. Green Bay -2. Oh, Green Bay +3?
No, Green Bay -3.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, holy shit, how did I misread this? I misread it the second time because I'm worried about my taxes. But, yeah, Green Bay -3.
Yeah, I mean, we got to start taking fucking bets. So
we got to start fucking taking bets, and I don't love the -3, but fuck, man, it's actionable. And it looks like it's actually, did I read that right? Is it moving towards 2? No, it's moving towards 3. Yeah, take the 3. Okay, that's a bet. Cha-ching. I don't love it. It'll probably be 1 unit, but it's a bet.
All right, moving on. We have the Miami Dolphins going to play the Indianapolis Colts. The Dolphins are -3.5.
The Colts are -3.
Colts are -3.5. My bad.
You think about my taxes too?
You changed my screen too quickly.
Well, I had to figure out how we're betting this game because all that matters is who the Colts are playing at quarterback. Is Anthony Richardson fucking playing? Because it kind of feels like he got benched, but apparently he didn't.
I don't know, man. If Flacco plays, they're the bet.
Oh, so easily. But if Anthony Richardson plays,
I don't think we can bet on it.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of sucks.
Oh, totally. I mean, we might even be getting Skylar Thompson.
I mean, no matter what, it's going to be a horrible quarterback for Miami. Snoop Huntley or Skylar Thompson. Oof.
Man, yeah, I guess we can dig deeper on this game later if need be, but for now, we don't know who the fucking quarterbacks are. We really can't make an educated decision on that game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a good game. There's a good game on. Let's talk about the good game.
Next up, we have the Detroit Lions going to play the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are minus 2.5.
Why? What is this nervous smile?
Because I know you're going to want to bet on the Vikings.
No, why would you think that?
And I don't know if I agree. I don't disagree.
All right,
But
I'm writing it down.
you're going to have to convince me because you want to bet on the Vikings, right?
Yeah. I already wrote down Minnesota as one of our bets because I know how I'm going to convince you. So we have the Vikings with I don't know, where's Kevin O'Connell? Wherever Matt LaFleur is, put Kevin O'Connell right next to him. So top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. We got a top 5 coach off a bye. Typically, that's good. The Vikings are also getting healthy. Hawkinson might be back. We're not sure yet, but he might be back. And I know this because he's on my fantasy team. Jefferson got a week of rest that he needed. Addison got a week of rest that he needed. Aaron Jones is iffy. He's 50-50 to play. He's also on my fantasy team. I have the entire Vikings offense.
Since when have you played fantasy?
This is my first year back.
Okay.
And I have Jefferson, Jones, Darnold, and Hawkinson.
Oh my God.
I took Jefferson with the second overall pick, and it's worked.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Don't worry, Baker is my starting quarterback, but I have Darnold.
Yeah, I know. I didn't have to ask.
Yeah. I overdrafted him. It's okay. Anyway, no one cares about my fantasy team. We get excellent head coach, at least even coaching, right? Like Ben Johnson's awesome, and I don't give a fuck about Dan Campbell. It's Ben Johnson versus Kevin O'Connell. Those are even-ish offensive coordinators in my book. Whichever one has a good day is going to be the better one that day. But we get Kevin O'Connell off a bye. That's a plus. Whereas Detroit is just coming off a big game that they game planned like crazy for. I don't know if you watched the end of that game. The Lions were clearly still mad about the Cowboys game and some controversial calls in the playoffs. They ran like 7 trick plays. They emptied the clip. And when you empty the clip on crazy plays, you don't have any more, like they're not prepared for the Vikings, right? They prepared everything they could for the Cowboys, and then they started fresh for the Vikings today. The Vikings have been preparing for the Lions for 2 weeks. So the Vikings are better prepared with similar coaching. Offensive line for the Vikings, really good. Defensive line for the Lions, suddenly bad.
Yeah, I mean, Hutchinson going out is humongous.
It's a goddamn travesty because he was the best defensive lineman in football this year by a wide margin. And like PFF has the famously inflated pressures stats with him. Like whoever is grading Hutchinson this year clearly loves him on a personal level. But yeah, him leaving turns this into an inept defensive line. They don't have an edge rusher worth a goddamn. And then, Aleem McNeil's a good defensive tackle, not a great one. DJ Reader's a fine defensive tackle, not a good one. Both of them looked better this year because they had been playing next to Hutchinson, who is destroying worlds. Now that they're the focal point, this is bad. Versus a really good offensive line, this is really bad. I think that the Vikings will be able to run the ball pretty much at will, and I think Darnold's going to have plenty of time back there. So you're telling me I have Terrion Arnold's slow, incompetent ass against Justin Jefferson? You're telling me I have Jordan Addison, who's very fast and twitchy and crafty, versus Carlton Can't-Turn Davis? Suddenly the matchups look nice. Flip it to
I mean, I think the Vikings are going to be able to score.
Good, because I have the solution for your qualms on the other side. Last year, the Vikings toyed with the Lions toyed with the Vikings defense, right? Because last year, the Vikings just didn't have any personnel worth a damn on defense. And Brian Flores' solution was, I'm going to zero blitz the shit out of you and just hope I get home. And they didn't. 1, Brian Flores knows that doesn't work anymore. So he's going to try something different. But 2, even if he did zero blitz again, he goes from having a totally worthless secondary to a good one. So last year, Byron Murphy is covering St. Brown, and I don't even know who. Andrew Booth is covering wide receiver 2. This year, you've got Stephon Gilmore probably erasing Jameson Williams, and then you get Byron Murphy on the inside with St. Brown, which is where he's better, or Shaq Griffin, who's a decent corner. Suddenly, you can actually keep up at least a little bit with the Lions' offense, their receivers, if you blitz. Jared Goff is bad against the blitz. Now, I know his stats are good against the blitz, but when he plays teams that actually blitz well and have decent defenses, like the Buccaneers, he panics. I like the matchup. You also have a hard time running the ball against this Vikings defense because Blake Cashman, rangy linebacker, Ivan Pace, thumping motherfucker of a linebacker. Who's the white guy? Phillips. Harrison Phillips. That's who it is. Harrison Phillips. Good defensive tackle clogging the middle. Javon Bullard. Jonathan Bullard. I always liked him in Chicago. He's a three tech. But he's not a pass rushing three tech. He can handle himself in the run. And it's Brian Flores, so you're gonna have numbers, right? Basically, it boils down to who has the better quarterback for me, because I think that you have a slight advantage scoring with the Vikings. The Lions have a slight advantage scoring on anybody, but I think that the Vikings will be better at handling the Lions offense than usual. Comes down to who's better, Sam Darnold or Jared Goff. And I think it's not very close. I think Sam Darnold is much better. And I don't think Sam Darnold's good, but I think he's average. And that's plenty.
Yeah, I mean, I get concerned because I don't know if Stephon Gilmore can shut Jameson Williams down simply because Jameson Williams is that fast. And like, yes, Stephon Gilmore is as sticky as they come and so technically sound and everything. But like at a certain point, he's a corner in his 30s running with a dude that runs a 4.25.
You would be right if Jared Goff had any semblance of an arm.
That's a good point.
You can run away from Stephon Gilmore, but by the time you run away from him, you've also run out of Goff's range. And as good as the Lions' offensive line is, if the Vikings are zero blitzing, you don't have time to do like a deep over route where you have JMO cover a lot of ground, but not that far from the line of scrimmage. You don't have time for that shit to develop because you're going to get hit because there's just more rushers than blockers. And I mean, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think we're looking at like a 35-30 game, but I trust the team with the better receivers, the better ability to protect their quarterback relative to the team they're playing, and the better quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Darnold is a better quarterback. I think they're pretty similar. I think Darnold can do more things, but again, he doesn't do the little things. It's kind of like the Jordan Love versus CJ Stroud thing, just different tiers. Because Goff, he can't throw deep. He struggles with pressure, but he operates the offense well. He's mostly accurate within, 20 yards. And in that offense, that's kind of plenty. And Darnold is doing a lot of those same things. It's just that Darnold does some more stupid stuff.
So I understand why you would think that the Lions offense is doing plenty, but have you considered that it is, quote, done plenty against a Cowboys team that kept turning the ball over, a Seahawks team that we already established really sucks on defense, a Cardinals team that is barely existent on defense, and a Rams team missing all their starters? The only average defense they've played is the Buccaneers, and they couldn't do shit. And in come the Vikings. Meanwhile, the Vikings put up decent points on the Jets. It should have been more. Dominated the Packers, dominated the Texans, dominated the 49ers, dominated the Giants. Any one of those games would be the best defense that Detroit has played. And the Vikings are still more productive on offense.
I don't know about the Giants, but...
Who's better, Giants or fucking Buccaneers on defense? It's close. Buccaneers just let up 27 points in one quarter to fucking Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, but I think some of that was they were up 27 to whatever.
Then explain the fucking Falcons game, because I can't.
Well, yeah. I think that's a lot of Todd Bowles as well. You have the quarterback that all he wants to do is make one read and throw an accurate ball 8 yards against the defense that starts the play 12 yards away. But, I mean, I think you are convincing me, and Minnesota has looked better this year. The Lions are very hot, and Minnesota's got to lose at a certain point. But I think you're right. Yeah, you might give that extra motivation for the Lions of our guys out. Hutchinson just ended his season, and he's, been their best defensive player for 3 years. But there's no replacing that guy. There's no replacing that pressure, the production, or even just what he draws that makes it easier for the rest of that D-line that isn't really impressive in their own right. Plus, they're coming off the bye. They really have dominated everyone this year.
Like
And
literally, so I've graded, give me a sec, I'll pull it up. I've graded almost every snap that Darnold has taken this year, except in the 5 games I've graded, it was a blowout before the fourth quarter in 4 of them. Like I didn't get to grade a full game of Sam Darnold except against San Francisco because too often the game was out of hand already. And like the Jets game, yeah, it got close at the end. They were up 17-0 in the first. It was over.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with making the bet, especially because this week kind of sucks.
Week kind of sucks.
Like, all right, so cha-ching, Vikings -2.5.
What was that thing that you just said in the moment that we were off air?
I mean, it might even end up being the best bet, if
Exactly.
only because this week sucks.
This week, this
And
week really wants that job.
yeah, and like Detroit can definitely beat the Vikings, but it's 2.5. They're home, they're off the bye.
It's an
Whereas like our other bet, Green Bay at home, it's a 3. We hate the quarterback, and they played last week. So like it just even between those two, it's definitely Minnesota. But we'll see. We still
Hey,
got some games to talk
do you
about.
want to bet on Philly -3? I don't.
All right, next game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles going to play the New York Giants. The Eagles are -3.
Like this is what we're dealing with. There's no good teams in the NFL, and all of the occasionally decent teams happen to be playing each other this week. So we're gonna have to deal with terrible lines. Jalen Hurts, could he start for Oklahoma right now? Note that Oklahoma is a bad college offense. I don't think he fucking could. He's terrible. Okay, Birdwatcher, I'm sorry. I forgot to give you your trigger warning. Birdwatcher, please plug your ears. I'm so proud of you and the Mrs. Birdwatcher. What an adventure this weekend. Now stop listening. Jalen Hurts fucking sucks, dude. It's so bad. It's crippling the rest of, I don't know if I should bleep that word. It's ing the rest of the entire offense. You still have AJ Brown and you still have Devontae Smith and fucking Goddard too, and it doesn't matter because Jalen Hurts cannot distribute the ball properly. The offensive line is mediocre right now. Like Becton is not good in pass pro. Juergens is solid. They're having left tackle issues due to injury, which renders their offensive line solid rather than incredible. And that's not enough. He can't handle anything. He's not a running threat anymore. He looks very slow. And turns out Saquon Barkley, not generational, just had a couple good weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's what he's done his entire career.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he'll have some good weeks, some good plays, some, 70-yard runs, but he just isn't consistent. Plus, he's hurt all the time, but that's a different story since he's actually been largely healthy this year.
Saquon Barkley's played 5 games. I know that we hate PFF and think they suck. He's been bad as a pass catcher in all of them except one, which was a blowout loss. And he's been good as a runner in 2 or 3. Nah, he's been good as a runner per PFF in 3. I think only 2 because he sucked against Tampa. Yeah, sorry, he's not a game-breaking player. And you kind of would love to have a game-breaking running back behind this offensive line because your quarterback castrates your offense. Now, on the other side, man, Brian Daboll is calling the hell out of an offense, and Daniel Jones just can't execute anything.
He's so bad.
But the thing is, I would rather have Daniel Jones than Jalen Hurts, not only because at least Daniel Jones' contract is finished at the end of this year, whereas Jalen Hurts just begins to eat up all of your fucking cap space this year, which is insane. Like, think about that. Jalen Hurts is holding this entire team back, and starting in 5 months, he will be the highest paid player in football. Or amongst the very highest.
That's horrible.
These teams could give me $100,000 a year to just evaluate their quarterbacks for them, and I would save them tens of millions every year. And I would be thrilled for an extra 100K, just chilling. Granted, I'd do it for every team and make more than that, but whatever. Malik Neighbors may play, or he may go to another Travis Scott concert with a concussion. Who knows? That's insane. That should be like violating the contract terms. I think it is. Like, all of his guarantees should be void because he's like, my head hurts. I'm going to go to a seizure-inducing concert and stand backstage next to the amplifiers that are scrambling my brain.
He's just trying to bounce his brain back into place.
I'm not making any jokes. I'm not making any jokes. You fill in the blanks. The Eagles defense is still decent. I like their secondary. I love their rookie corners. I really wish they would just tell Darius Slay to go play safety instead of fucking Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who sucks ass, because then they could play DeJean and Mitchell on the outside, and that would be pretty fearsome. But whatever. I really love what Daboll is doing with this fucking offense. There's always somebody open between 8 and 15 yards downfield, and Daniel Jones rarely sees them, and when he does, he doesn't hit them often enough. It's pretty fucking frustrating. Hey, you know what's really fun? How all these practice squad running backs that the Giants keep on handing the ball to are doing just as well, if not better than Saquon. Wow, I'm so glad we didn't tell the Birdwatcher to tune back in. A part of me wants to bet Giants, but I can't.
No, I don't think so.
The coaching is better in New York, but it's not clearly better, right? Like Kellen Moore is a fine offensive coordinator. He's not bad. And the roster in Philly is so much better. And, you know, the winner of this game is looking at a wild card spot, or at least close. I mean, fuck, if the Eagles win, they're 4-2, and they could win this whole goddamn division.
Fighting with the commies.
How many years is the NFC East going to be? The NFC East is pretty good this year. No, just they actually all suck pretty equally.
What division is good?
I don't know. I guess I lean Giants, so Rod will be happy, but I don't know. Birdwatcher, you can tune back in.
I like the idea that will actually help him.
No, I'm going to get an angry text in about 48 hours.
All right.
I'm sorry. I value your friendship. Do you have a vibe on this game?
No, I don't. I don't have a good feeling for it. The Eagles seem like they just self-sabotage, but
they do.
The Giants also do that, and their defense is bad. I don't know.
I was going to say, the reason that it seems like the Eagles self-sabotage is because they fucking always do. But no, it's a battle of bad quarterbacks and dysfunctional teams. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the 3 o'clock hour and try and find 3 bets over our next 5 games.
Once again, the entire 3 o'clock hour sucks ass.
First up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders going to play the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are -7.
Fucking not even a chance.
No, I don't. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers going to play the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are -7.5.
Fucking not even a chance.
Yeah.
Lean Commanders, but not even a chance.
And closing out the 3 o'clock hour, we have the Kansas City Chiefs going to play the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are -1.5.
Now we're talking.
I think this is a game that we should bet on.
I mean, I think we have to. It's a pick 'em. Like in a bad week, you get to pick 'em, you got to bet it. So who's going to win this fucking game? Is it the team with the number 1 ranked quarterback in the NFL, according to PFF, or is it the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes? Look, I think Mahomes has been not very good this year, but having Brock Purdy as the number 1 quarterback, just close your fucking doors, dude. It's over. Brock Purdy, Alex, is the fucking MVP, according to PFF. Suck my whole cock and balls.
From the back.
No, that doesn't even make logistical sense.
That's the point.
No,
you'd have to really work to make it happen.
I want them to very traditionally put my entire cock and balls in their mouth simultaneously. Really tear the creases of your mouth. Birdwatcher, right. Pray to God that Mrs. Birdwatcher is not listening. I'm sure she's heard me say worse.
Good job, front.
I think I like the 49ers.
I think I might as well.
Okay. The Chiefs have been very fucking lucky. Patrick Mahomes has straight up not been good. Wait, is Andy Reid off the bye?
No, they played. Oh, you're right. No, they didn't play last week.
God damn it. I'm really glad we've noticed that before it was too late. I mean, that's the game. That's it right there. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, they didn't play week 6.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I don't know if I can step in front of Andy Reid off a bye. Although 49ers had a mini bye.
Yeah, but I don't think they get the same advantage.
They got Kyle Shanahan. He's still a clever son of a bitch.
Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't have the same majesty as Andy Reid off the bye.
As the great hamburger walrus himself. I ate a hamburger yesterday instead of a cheeseburger, and I thought of Andy Reid the entire time. And I was sitting with my girlfriend, so I couldn't express this to her because she wouldn't get it.
She'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, I'd explain the entire backstory of Andy Reid, including his sons, and then she would just nod at me and go, mm-hmm. I was like, isn't that interesting? And she'd say, uh-huh. So
she's a sweet lady.
Hey, she watched 12 hours of football with me last weekend.
Wow.
I had to give her foot massages like for 8 hours of them, but she did watch 12 hours technically, and also the Menendez brothers show.
Is
On
that
the
any
small,
good?
on the small TV. It's really good.
Interesting. Okay.
They made those
Anywho,
boys so good looking.
who are we picking to win this game?
I don't know which one's going to get played by a really good looking young boy on TV. Because that's exactly how the jurors decided that case or tried to. Like straight up, it was two trials because the first one was a mistrial, and all the women on the jury were like, they're so cute. There's no way they did it. While they were sitting on the fucking stand being like, we did do it.
Yeah, no, that case was weird, but
Anyway, not a legal drama. Dude, I still lean 49ers. We've got two teams with extra preparation. I don't think that the two-time repeating Super Bowl champions were giving up their entire bye week to like prepare for the 49ers, whereas I am certain that the 49ers used every second of their mini bye to get revenge on the Chiefs who keep on stealing their dreams from them.
yeah,
Like think about it. In all likelihood, the Chiefs, whose biggest opponent is burnout, probably all went on vacation from Monday to Wednesday at least, if not Monday to Friday. Meanwhile, the 49ers from Friday to Saturday will be prepping their asses off, right? So like they get 3 extra days of prep, whereas the Chiefs probably won't even utilize their extra week of prep very much. Also, just talking ball, like fuck all the mitigating factors. Let's just talk ball. The 49ers offensive line has finally actually been like wholly good this year, whereas the Chiefs defense has basically boiled down to, can we rush the passer with Chris Jones? And the answer today will be probably not as much. And do you have a second receiver once McDuffie takes your best one away? I don't trust, I knew it was Jalen, but I wanted to say Justin. Justin's the wide receiver. That's why. Do you trust Jalen Watson to go one-on-one with Deebo Samuel and or Juwan Jennings all day? I don't. Do you trust Nick Bolton to cover George Kittle? I don't. The 49ers will be able to move the ball at will on the ground because they always fucking do. And if you go to the other side of the ball, the Chiefs offense hasn't been good this year. And their edges, their offensive tackles suck. And they have to go against Bosa, who's been good again.
Bosa an election year, man.
Plus, it's an election year. He's really got to show out for the guy who ruined traffic in my city. The former president like gave a talk like literally next door to my office. So exiting the parking garage and getting home was a fucking nightmare. And I'm blaming everything that happens today on him because of it. It's not a political thing. It is a traffic thing.
It's purely just how he inconvenienced your day.
Yes, I had to sit in traffic. It was not nice. Yeah, no, and then I don't look, Juju Smith-Schuster still sucks. The fact that he didn't get covered a few times last week, or last time the Chiefs played, is immaterial to the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster still sucks. I don't think the Chiefs really have an answer on offense right now. Like they don't have a wide receiver who can truly, this is going to sound harsh, but like who can truly play. Because Juju Smith-Schuster can only really run underneath little like slot slants and hope that he isn't covered. And that's not really playing wide receiver. And Xavier Worthy is super fast, but he doesn't have a route tree and he can't really catch. So like he's not really playing receiver. And I like Justin Watson. I do. He's a tall, fast guy, but he's not like a well-polished receiver. And then Travis Kelce's old, man.
Yeah, and they lost Rashee Rice, who is their best receiver.
And Patrick Mahomes is not playing well this year. He's not playing terribly, but he's not playing well. Yeah, dude, give me the fucking 49ers. Also, just sheer base level bet. One of these teams cares a lot fucking more, and it's the 49ers. And this game is relatively close to San Francisco because it's in Santa Clara.
Yeah, I worry a little bit because the 49ers have been a little streaky. I mean, they fucking lost to the Cardinals. And they've been blowing games, like going up by a lot and then just letting the other team back into it.
Yeah, but that Cardinals loss was bullshit. Because did the Cardinals block a kick or did the 49ers? No, the Cardinals blocked a kick. No, the 49ers did. Never mind. 49ers got trounced. But they deserved.
That was the game where they were up by like 2 scores or something.
Yeah, they were running away with it. I stopped watching because I thought it was over. But they got back on the horse against the Seahawks. They had the mini bye. Honestly, I think the mini bye might be more helpful than the real bye because the real bye, people go on vacation. The mini bye, everybody got to stick around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it's a solid bet. I think both teams have holes, but the Chiefs, I feel like their holes are being covered by media and hype and just a belief that the Chiefs are really good because they've won a bunch of Super Bowls in the last few years.
So the last time we saw the Chiefs play was prime time. I think it was Monday night. And yeah, it was Monday night, and they beat up on the Saints, except they didn't beat up on the Saints nearly as well as the fucking Buccaneers did. And that's despite the fact that Derek Carr gave them the ball a couple times and they had some crucial drops on fourth down. Like, that was a one possession game for all intents and purposes against the Saints, the team that just got blown the motherfuck out by the Bucs. The week before that, they couldn't score on the fucking Chargers. Like, if the Chargers called a pass play, they would have lost to the Chargers. They snuck by the Falcons. They snuck by the shitty Bengals. They snuck by the Ravens, although that's a good fucking win.
Yeah, I mean, it's week one, but...
And they beat a good team. But like, nothing the Chiefs have done is impressive. I'm going 49ers. Yeah, the 49ers lost to the fucking Vikings. Matt Stafford shocked them on a fucking Hail Mary effectively. And they got their asses bitten by the Cardinals when they got cocky that they were already up big early in the game.
Yeah, all right, I'm fine with it. Let's lock it in.
Lock it in.
49ers.
-1.5.
-1.5.
Or whatever. It's fucking pick 'em. Doesn't matter. All right. Prime time. Fuck it. Let's just keep recording. Nobody's watching a Sunday night football podcast.
All right. Sunday night football. We have the New York Jets going to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Jets are -1.5.
It's the squarest bet of the fucking year, but how do you not bet the Jets?
Because, I don't know, they've just been disappointing. Aaron Rodgers is playing decent, but it seems like the vibes are just terrible. Is Davante Adams really going to make much of a difference?
I think so. I mean, not a much of a difference. I don't think he's a fix, but I think he'll step in and be able to play tomorrow because they run the Packers offense. He played in this offense his entire early career.
That's a good point.
And frankly, I don't know if you saw, he posted this morning, the same morning as the trade happened. He posted this morning a picture of his new custom Jets cleats that he's going to be wearing. Several different pairs and designs.
I mean, he's already there. He was like on TV with Aaron Rodgers today
at 7 a.m. I'm pretty sure that Davante Adams has been looking at the Jets playbook for 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm like fucking certain. So I think he'll be able to step in and play X right away. And I think that's really good for two reasons. One, let's just illustrate it for you, not the people, but for you. Joey Porter Jr. is the only cornerback that the Steelers have that's worth a goddamn, and Davante Adams eats him up, right? Because Porter is going to stay on the X, which means that you get Garrett Wilson isolated against Dante Jackson. So you get a super crafty body control receiver against a guy who can't do anything other than run fast. That's a perfect matchup. And then, yeah, you get Allen Lazard in the slot where he belongs against something called Beanie Bishop. I love the fucking... It's not so much that Davante Adams is good, it's just that he pushes everybody else down, and all of a sudden, instead of being a mediocre wide receiver 1, Garrett Wilson's a really good wide receiver 2. Instead of being a focal point, Allen Lazard, who's overused, he becomes a complementary piece who's really useful. The way that the Steelers win on defense is their defensive line just fucking eats you alive. And TJ Watt is going to eat. He will be borderline game breaking in this game because Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith are not good. It's bad. Like the Jets offensive tackles are straight up poop. And then I guess Alex Highsmith's back, which is scary.
Yeah, that's huge. But I think the other thing is the Steelers are playing a new quarterback this week.
Yes, sir.
Russell Wilson is fucking back.
Okay. Do you think that's an upgrade?
No.
I don't know.
Because I think that Fields is good for the Steelers because he doesn't need to make hard throws. He needs to make easy throws and then run. And so Russ takes away that running aspect. And I don't think he's that much, like, he's a better passer than Fields, but I don't think he's that much better of a passer that it's going to like completely change their offense or really improve it that much.
No, and it kind of castrates their running game because so much of what Arthur Smith likes to do is quarterback run, and now that's all gone.
Exactly.
And you can't use the middle of the field because it's Russell Wilson and he can't see it, much less get the ball there. So I don't really see how he's a fit for this offense at all. I don't like Justin Fields. I think this is a mistake. And that's all assuming that Russell Wilson is exactly who he was last time we saw him play, which was before he got hurt and missed a month and a half of football. And before he was, 34 now?
Something like that.
Oh my God. Russell Wilson's damn near 36 years old. He's 5'10". He was bad last time we saw him, and he's only getting worse. and he doesn't fit the offense. Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fine with that too. Like the Steelers, their defense is good. They're going to be able to put a lot of pressure, which does scare me. But the Steelers offense, I think, is going to be worse than it's been all year. And
it hasn't been good all year.
Yeah.
And the Jets, say what you will.
The Jets did improve on offense.
Say what you will about the Jets being 2-4. They should be distraught, but they just got Devontae Adams, so they all think they're set. They think they fixed it. They fired their coach, and they got the superstar wide receiver. And even though neither of those things mean as much as those guys think they do, perception's reality. They're excited. And because the AFC East is such utter dog shit, they still can fucking hang. They could win this division.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. When the Titans eventually win money line over the Bills, but we can't bet it because we're afraid, and the Jets see that shit pregame, they're going to be locked in. But no, I mean, we're talking about a team that almost tied, if not beat, one of the best teams in the league, despite some bullshit, versus a Steelers team that sucks. Why did your eyes get big? What happened?
Nothing really. It's just full disclosure. I am also watching the Guardians play the Yankees. I have no positive hopes. However, I feel it is my duty to watch them in the ALCS because fuck, we don't get here very often.
Yeah,
Granted, Garrett Cole is trying to give us runs. He's trying. He loaded the bases last inning. We couldn't do anything with it. We loaded the bases this inning, have scored one. I mean, we only have one out, but now they're pulling him. Anyway, it was Lane Thomas almost. I thought he almost wrecked the ball, but
Roll Trod.
Hopefully. Back to football. The Jets do scare me because 2 weeks ago we were talking about what an insane dumpster fire they are. They're
still a dumpster fire.
Yeah. Whereas, and I think though that matters in these close pick'em games because the Jets are they just got Devontae Adams and it seems like Woody is fine with just letting Aaron Rodgers be the de facto GM, coach, president, whatever.
The vice president, you might even say.
Nice. And so, I don't know if, they're still going to do that well because they feel like they're in disarray. They're disorganized. They're 2-4. I know bad division. There's a lot of games, but
hold on. It's going to be a close game, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a close game, and we have the corpse of Russell Wilson trying to make yet another comeback. He'll fail. Versus, oh, by the way, George Pickens is still jogging his routes because he wants to be traded.
Where do you think he would be happy? Or do you think he's just a guy that's going to get traded every 3 years?
I'm not going to answer where I think he'll be happy, but it isn't an NFL team.
Fair.
George Pickens wants to wear a ribbed, sleeveless, tight-fitting undershirt. I don't know what you call them anymore because you're either racist or sexist. I think they call them an A shirt. I don't know.
A-frame.
A-frame shirt. He wants to wear one of those and a winter hat in the summertime and just run around doing crazy shit because that man is unhooked. I fucking love watching him play football, but he's not well. So you've got unwell George Pickens with delusional, also unwell Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers, who still is very talented and not dumb. And he also has his favorite 3 receivers of all time.
Yeah, that's true. If only Randall Cobb could still do it.
And it's a close game. Also, Randall Cobb is 31.
Yeah, but he can't do it anymore.
No, he's been cooked since he was 28, but it's crazy how quickly he got cooked. All right, we got 2 Monday night games, shall we?
Yeah, let's move on to Monday night. And look at that, we're already up to 4 bets. First up, we have the Baltimore Ravens going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baltimore is -3.5.
We got the Hurricane Revenge game. Look, I'm not one for motivational spots, but you better bet the Buccaneers are going to be hooked in for this game because it's for I don't know. It's not for the land, it's for the Bay, but the Bay is San Francisco, so it's for the Tampa, but that doesn't make sense. It's for the clubs.
You can just do Tampa strong, everyone has just stolen from the Boston strong thing.
They stole that shit from Lance Armstrong.
Maybe, and he probably stole it from someone.
No, he's a high ethics guy.
He's got a lot of integrity.
He's got scruples out the ass, dude.
Yeah, scruples. That's what he was pumped full of.
Scruples out the ass might be my favorite phrase of all time. But we have to hurry because this Zoom has 8 more minutes and I want to get through this game. So we got the best quarterback in the NFL, Baker Mayfield, with a mediocre offensive line. Like the way you stop this Bucs team is their offensive line's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the Ravens is that their defensive line's not very good. It's really good against the run, but it's not very good against the pass. And this Ravens team is getting torched in the pass game partially because of it. I also don't know how the Ravens are going to handle Marlon Humphrey because they like to throw him in the slot this year, but that leaves Mike Evans on the outside against not Marlon Humphrey, and the Ravens don't have any other big physical corners who can handle Mike Evans, and Mike Evans is too fast for Kyle Hamilton. So I don't really know how the Ravens are going to handle that. I think that the Buccaneers are going to score some damn points. I think the question is, can the Buccaneers stop Lamar?
Yeah.
And the Buccaneers have a hard time stopping anyone in the pass game, but they will stop the run. I think that's very certain.
Yeah.
Especially because the Buccaneers actually have like their starting defensive line back. Like they finally have Kalijah Cansey back. They've got Vita Vea back. Yaya Diaby might be hurt, but I actually really like Chris Braswell. Like I really like Chris Braswell needs to start over Joe Tryon. Joe Tryon needs to stop playing football. Being tall does not make you good at football. Fuck you, Joe Tryon. I hate watching you play football. Yeah, and then like Isaiah Likely is sick and Mark Andrews is sick, but the Buccaneers linebackers are good and Antoine Winfield's really good. So like I think that they'll be handled. The question is, do they have anybody athletic enough to spy Lamar? And I kind of don't think they do. And they're going to play soft zone coverage. So Lamar's just going to be able to run all day. The only question is, will he want to? Because he doesn't like to run. He wants to be a passing quarterback. He just happens to be so much better at running.
And I mean, the classic thing of if you can get up on Lamar, you greatly improve your chances because then you limit that he has to pass. And he's gotten better at passing, that it's not as like...
Lamar's having his best season as a passer by a mile.
Yeah.
He's having his best season, period. He's a decent quarterback this year.
But I think the Bucs are going to be able to score. They're not going to be able to score at will because Baltimore's still going to be able to stop the run very well. We know they're a handsy defense that plays with a lot of robbers that have confused Baker before.
True.
But we're at 3.5. We're a home dog.
Alex, let's not hem and haw. We know what we're fucking doing.
Yeah, you're right. I wrote it down.
We need a bet, and we think that there's a team out there with the best quarterback alive, and people think he's okay at best. Come on, we're betting the Bucs.
Yeah, and 3.5. Like
this is
sure,
a betting on the Bucs
by more,
team.
But I think this is going to be a close game, even if it's a high scoring game.
Going to be a fucking elite game.
And we got 3 in the hook, so let's rip it. Well, that is 5 bets, but we have another Monday night game to talk about. It doesn't really matter. Actually, the number. We have the Los Angeles Chargers going to play the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Chargers are -2.5.
And the Chargers are throwing the football. I want to fucking see it before I believe it. Like, I need more. I need more of the Chargers throwing the football. But last week, they really threw the football a lot. And here's the thing. Here's the area that I think that the Chargers can and should exploit. Ladd McConkey is legit sick. He should have been a top 15 pick. He just wasn't because he's a slot receiver who's small, but he doesn't have to play slot. He can do other things. But when he is allowed to just play the slot against this Cardinals team, you're either getting Mac Wilson on him, which is a nightmare for Mac Wilson,
right,
or you're getting Garrett Williams. That's not a good corner. The weakness of the entire Cardinals team is arguably their secondary, and they have a lot of holes in a lot of spots. So that's not good. So I think that the Chargers should really focus this game plan on throwing to McConkey in the slot, getting him yak, and then, I mean, if you have McConkey in the slot, something called Starling Thomas V is going to be covering either Josh Palmer or Quentin Johnson, and neither of those are good receivers, but at least, like, Josh Palmer is a competent receiver. Like, he knows when he plays wide receiver, it looks like someone playing X. It looks like a real receiver. And then Quentin Johnson doesn't, but at least he's so goddamn fast and strong with the ball in his hands. So I see a path for the Chargers, whereas I don't see, like, Kyler Murray is terrible. He's fucking terrible. He had the really amazing game against the Rams. And since like 4 drives against the Rams, he's been terrible. Marvin Harrison is concussed. You've got a college defensive coordinator who's used to handling scrambling quarterbacks because that's all that happens in college. I think I'm ready to get hurt again. I think I'm ready to bet on the Chargers.
1 week throwing the ball and you're like, do it. Put me back in.
How do the Chargers how do the Cardinals win this game? What do they do?
Tyler just runs around because the Chargers defense still is not very good. Like they're getting some good performances. Like Christian Fulton has been great this year.
Finally, I knew it would happen, and then I
Yeah.
gave up, and then it happened.
Yeah. And Khalil Mack has been very good.
Watch this week because I said I'm kind of out on Will Levis and I'm kind of sick of his shit. He's gonna break out and he's gonna win money line. God damn it! And we're not betting it.
Someone should count how many times you've
There's a reason
said
for
that
that.
they're going to win money line,
There's a slight reason.
but we're not betting it because it's been at least 4 times.
Look, we got to wrap up because we got a minute left on the Zoom. But I like the Chargers. Do you like the Chargers?
Yeah, fuck it.
All right, we'll figure out how much in a second on the next Zoom, but at least for purposes of this pregame video or recording or whatever the fuck this is going to be, we like Tampa and San Diego in Monday night.
Yeah. All right. So we have 6 bets. We didn't need to bother with the maybe pile, so we can forget about Tennessee and Cincinnati. We just have to pick a best bet and figure out which one is our half unit bonus bet or if we're just doing 6. So our picks as of now are Green Bay hosting Houston -3, Minnesota hosting Detroit -2.5, San Francisco hosting the Chiefs -1.5, the New York Jets going to play the Steelers -1.5, the Tampa Bay Bucks hosting the Baltimore Ravens +3.5, and the Los Angeles Chargers going to play the Cardinals -3. Right? It was -3, not +3.
Yeah, San Diego is -2.5.
Yep, -2.5, even better.
All right. I feel like Minnesota, San Francisco, and the Jets have to be on there.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I don't feel super strongly about San Diego. I just don't like Arizona, and I see a glimmer of hope from San Diego.
Yeah, I mean that's all it comes down to. We think the Chargers might be a little underrated if they're actually going to throw the ball a bit,
Yeah,
and the Cardinals are overrated because of
Kyler Murray and
like a big couple because he did play very well in like the first 2 out of 3 games, I think, something like that, where he put up big stats at least.
Yeah.
And then they had that comeback win against the 49ers. So I feel like people have glossed over some of, one, how bad that defense is, and 2, that Kyler is the excitement merchant. But it's hard to consistently be good when all he is big plays.
Green Bay over Houston feels right because they're just going to run the ball. That's a good bet. They're just going to run the ball, and it's not going to matter that Jordan Love's kind of a fraud.
Yeah, I think so too. I like Green Bay.
Then do we like Tampa or San Diego?
I think Tampa, if only because it's 3.5. It's a home dog. They've been one of the best teams in football this year. They're good at stopping the run. They have matchups on the outside for their offense. My worry with Tampa is that Baltimore is going to stop the run well. Baker is going to feel pressured and he's going to start playing hero ball. But I think they're going to be able to score in the passing game early, and that'll help a lot to where then I don't worry that much when it's 3.5 because I think it'll be a close game. So probably Tampa. I'm not gonna lie, the Jets scare the shit out of me.
The Jets kind of scare me too, but what scares you less, the Jets or San Diego?
Yeah, I guess. Do you just want to do all 6?
Well, we have to pick 5 for the contest.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's knock out the Chargers.
Okay.
Just because one game, a competent team does not make. All right, so then let's pick our best bet.
I think it's got to be San Francisco. What do you think?
For me, it's between San Francisco, Minnesota, and maybe Green Bay. It's just hard because all of these have good coaches. Like, we don't really have a coach mismatch here. Let's do San Francisco.
I want to do San Francisco because I like the mini buy angle, and I think that the spread is the smallest. We get the mini buy, we get the motivation factor, and I think that people just overrate the Chiefs because they think that they're impervious to losing. Like, they can't fucking lose, and they can lose.
Yeah, I mean,
like they are like that. They're lucky to be 5-0, and it's not going to continue. Whereas the 49ers have kind of already gotten unlucky. As for the teaser that I mentioned earlier, Cincinnati, right? You move that 6 points, Cincinnati -0.5 against Cleveland. That feels like a lock, right?
Yeah, and then who with?
Commanders -1 against the Panthers. How the fuck does that lose? It's basically Commanders over Panthers money line and Cincy over Browns money line.
Yeah, probably.
The other option is Rams over Raiders -1, and I like the Rams, but like they are so hurt, I could see how they could lose theoretically.
Yeah. So it'd be both minus point 0.5 for Washington and Cincy.
Technically, it would be Commanders -1. Okay, so best bet, San Francisco over Kansas City. San Francisco -1.5. Other bets that are going in the contest, Green Bay -3, Minnesota -2.5 over Detroit, Jets -1 against Steelers, and Tampa +3.5 against Baltimore.
Jets are -1.5.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't matter, but
bonus bet, Chargers -2.5 over Arizona, and then teaser, full unit teaser or 2-unit teaser?
Ooh, probably just one.
Okay. 1 unit on Cincinnati and Washington teased moving the line 6 points. They're basically both -1. I fucking love this week. And also, we know that the Titans are going to beat the Bills money line, but we're not going to bet on it because we don't trust them.
I think that's the 5th time, but
oh, it's way more than 5 times.
Well, I mean, like, because I'm not counting when you do it in like a short span when you say it 3 times.
Okay.
I'm only counting that as 1. And it's just individual times when you've decided to bring it up. Anywho, are they all 1-unit bets besides the best bet?
Yeah, aside from San Francisco, I think they should all be 1 unit just because I don't really love any of the games this week. Like even looking at all the games we've decided and picked, I don't know which ones I'm personally actually going to bet and what my unit sizing will be just yet. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, hold on, I'm getting there.
It's almost like the inverse of last week where we had like 2 games we really liked and then a bunch of stuff we didn't.
Yep.
Whereas this week, I feel like we had a lot of things that we had leans on or likes on, but nothing that we really loved.
Yep.
But let's see if we can stack a second profitable week.
Yeah, as sad as we got because we lost our asses on week 5. First of all, week 5 is the only thing keeping us from like a very profitable season. And second of all, I think we're 3-3 with winning weeks. Like we've profited 3 of the weeks. It's just that the losses have been big.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 2 weeks where we lost 3.6 and 6.7.
Yeah.
Our 2 other losing weeks were 0.8 both.
Okay, so we're 2-4 on winning weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, because didn't we lose week 1 despite the fact that we had a winning record?
Yes.
Nice. All right. With that, I say we're going to have a winning week this week, and I don't know how exactly it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Watch us go like 4-1, plus the bonus bet, plus the teaser.
Or 1-4. We're going to have I told you, we just have to have weeks where we hate all the picks.
Well, that's this week. I don't really feel strongly about any of these except the teaser.
Yeah, no, actually, I agree with you.
Plus,
maybe we should do 2 units on the teaser.
Let's fuck it. If you stuck around to the last 5 seconds of the podcast, you're rewarded. We're doubling the teaser bet. Plus, the teaser bet's awesome because if it loses, it means that either Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels shat themselves, and then I get to be happy anyway.
True.
I think that's going to definitely be my biggest actual bet of the week. Anyway, until next time, I have so many fucking quarterback videos to make this week because I've made too many promises to too many people.
You're getting too big.
So I'm going to be grinding too much film and doing my taxes like right now. Like I have to actually race against time to finish my taxes.
Go get them.
So until next week, please bet on football games. Asta.